approaching the starter now, and the flag's dropped and they're off and racing. No one frantically keen to make the running, although Remastered now comes through on the rail to show just in front of Tedham in these very early stages. Tea Time on Mars approaches this flight as well towards the stand side. One or two quite erratic jumps at the back end of the field, including from Come On Teddy, who was far from foot perfect over that first flight. Samarkand is up with the pace as well now. Samarkand joining in with them, so too Champagne Ideas right on the rails. Not far away from them is Getaway Trump towards the outside of Musical Slave. So as they settle on down, the lead is held by Remastered, yellow sleeves, and leads them away from the stands with Tea Time on Mars up on the wide outside. Samarkand and Tedham in behind the leaders in third and fourth place. Getaway Trump not far away at all. Then remaining handily positioned as they race around this bend is Champagne Ideas. Champagne Ideas followed by Midnight Tipple, who is racing along in mid-division in behind Tedham. And others that are held up include Apple Mac, who's also mid-division at this early stage of the race. They're followed then by France de Luca towards the inside of Après le Deluge, who's travelling up well. Granitic and also Champions Club, they're more towards the outside of the field, where they keep company with Come On the Bull. Back markers include Come On Teddy, who didn't jump that first flight particularly well. See Present is just about last of all, and Hey Bud is well and truly held up as well in second last position as the runners now head down towards the second flight, with Remastered leading a pretty well strung out field from Samarkand in second place and Tea Time on Mars in third position. Tea Time on Mars followed then by Tedham in the yellow jacket, who's fourth. Champagne Ideas and Getaway Trump amongst the next few. Musical Slave just in behind those, and then Apple Mac and Après le Deluge as they take the next flight, where Samarkand didn't jump particularly well. The leader is Remastered, quickly on towards the third. He did jump well. Samarkand jumped much better there in second place. In third is Tedham. Tedham has gone past Tea Time on Mars towards the outer. Then in behind those in fifth is Getaway Trump, who's improving, travelling strongly between runners, although in a bit close to that flight of hurdles. They were followed over in turn by the likes of Apple Mac, who's still in touch with these leaders. Après le Deluge travels fine. He's slightly off the pace, but still moving well as Remastered leads them over on the jump over the final flight over on the far side. Again, mistakes have been plentiful from Come On Teddy, who hasn't jumped well enough to get in contention. He's quite a long way back now as the leaders head round the turn, moving towards home. So the leader is Remastered. He's been up there all the way. Samarkand, one little blip down that far side, but he's still travelling strongly in second place. In third is Tedham on the outside of Getaway Trump, who's travelled into contention well. Après le Deluge, likewise, a chance he's got in fifth place. Then there's a gap back to Apple Mac, who's racing in company with Tea Time on Mars, and now they race on towards the closing stages. So they've got three more flights of hurdles left to take. Remastered kicked into that flight from Samarkand, Getaway Trump and Tedham. These four from Après le Deluge in fifth place, and they are now clear from Musical Slave, who is next. Second last now. Remastered headed by Samarkand. Samarkand comes through to lead. Not over yet though, because in behind Tedham still with a chance, so too Getaway Trump. Après le Deluge closing in. Remastered's the one who's beaten. Final flight now all change. Getaway Trump together with Samarkand and Tedham as they come now onto the run-in. Getaway Trump and Harry Cobden, oh, he's found plenty away from the last here to go on and win impressively for Paul Nicholls. Getaway Trump, nice performance, winner of what looked a good race beforehand. Tight for second place, that's between Tedham and Samarkand. In fourth, and staying on with some promise there, Après le Deluge. Remastered weakened, only fifth for him.
Well, I think this is a race that'll work out well, and Getaway Trump's gone in at 11-2 for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden, backing up his fast time success at Plumpton last time over further. He's beaten Samarkand into a second place, who wanted to lug left on the running towards the exit, towards the gate that brings them out onto the track. But he's run pretty well. He certainly travelled strongly through the race. Tedham was back in third, and Après le Deluge has run well in 4-3 Masters. A bit disappointing having made the running, but the winner was impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. Travelled really nicely in behind the front running Remastered, as did Samarkand as well. Samarkand was the first one to really challenge Remastered. And it was a very canny ride from Harry Cobden, because he had him smuggled up quite nicely, travelling well enough in behind. Went quite a big price in running, as you mentioned to me in the run, for a horse that had obviously stays further, travelled well. There was a doubt about the ground, obviously, but clearly has handled it fine. Tedham's run a notable race. He was always slightly out wider in a prominent sit as well. He's finished second now, having finished third and fourth on his previous 2 starts. He's surely going the right way in terms of his form figures. He'll have a handicap mark now after the end of this, you'd imagine, and he could be slightly better than the bare form. You perhaps felt with Remastered maybe he was just going a quarter of a stride quicker than was absolutely ideal, given the class of horse in behind. Tom Scudamore was keen to make it a test, I think, on
he's got a big long stride on him, isn't he? Just think he wanted to let him use himself.
Yeah, and you can see why, because he won at Foslas in similar kind of ground, probably even deeper ground, really, by using that stride and really galloping on resolutely. It was just he met a couple of horses that were able to travel up with the pace on this occasion, and your eye is drawn there to Après le Deluge, who's aptly named for today at Exeter, in the Raymond Tooth colours there, who's in 5th, who plugs on into 4th past the weakening Remastered. He travelled quite nicely for a lot of the race in mid-division, and he runs on in nice style, really. He's probably, certainly when you watch his debut win back, he's a huge, big sort of gawky sort almost, and he will just be better and better with time. Certainly, probably the kind of horse that Hughie Morrison hasn't really had for. He's obviously more known for his flat exploits. But at this point, that Harry Cobden, who has travelled beautifully, is produced next to Samarkand, who just runs around a little bit and runs around again there. And I'm sure if Tedham didn't get up for second, he'd probably get it on the back of that.
Yeah, apologies. I thought Samarkand had got second, but he's not. No, it was tight, wasn't it? So Tedham